Greetings, everyone. My name is Tony Forman.
So we're back, family. I'd like to take a moment, give me a moment of silence at my call for the individuals in the Dominican Republic. There were many casualties. There was a concert that was the person that was performing was a very famous Dominican merenguero, person that played merengue. His name was Ruby Perez. Amongst that, we had also two baseball players, Octavio Dotel and Tony Blanco. It was a very tragic event. It's all over social media. You could Google it if you want to know more about it. But let's take a second just to think about this tragedy. We'll start now. Thank you, and thank you for, again, listening. If you can, please hit like and subscribe so that, and let us know where you're listening from. That's important to us. We want to know how far we're reaching people. Okay, so this tragedy, it was an unfortunate tragedy, but according to what I'm reading on social media, that place, there has been many complaints. Neighbors, people that live in the town, because they used to pack a lot of people, and the place wasn't safe. During the performance, before the whole entire roof fell, or the majority of the roof, I don't want to say the entire roof because I'm not sure if the whole roof collapsed, but you can see in some of the photos where to the right of Mr. Ruby Perez, part of the roof had fell, and he was still performing. Now, imagine that. The music was so loud, and people pointed in that direction, but it was packed. There were people one on top of the other, because he's a very well-known performer. He was. God rest his soul. And people were excited. It was a fundraiser. I forgot the cost, but it was for some cause. And people came out. And unfortunately, his daughter was with him. His daughter traveled with him, and her husband played in the band. Her husband, when the roof started collapsing, he jumped on top of her. But at that time, the roof hadn't fell entirely to the point where it fell on top of them. But he told her to leave because they had a child or children, I think it's one, to save herself, because she has to take care of the kids. It was real tragic. There are photos I seen a photo of Ruby Perez drenched in blood. The body wasn't like crushed or nothing like that, but it was devastating. There was, I mean, ask my producer to put the stats up again. The amount of people that were there, the amount that were injured. There were 124 killed, 33 not identified, and 145 rescued. Our condolences go out to the families of all of those that perished, and we're praying for all of those that were rescued, that were harmed. At moments like this, we need to show compassion, empathy, and share prayers. Nobody wants to be a part of such a tragedy, but who knows more about tragedy than the United States of America? I mean, I don't want to get off subject, but have y'all been paying attention to all the flooding that's going on in the United States of America? Especially in the South, Midwest. And people pray for us. So we, in turn, have to be as sympathetic as possible, because we suffer too. And it's Americans. We have, I mean, the way that I grew up, we have always been a country that cares for not just us, but for others. And this tragedy in the Dominican Republic was really devastating to Dominicans. As a matter of fact, if you're in Charlotte and you want to go to a visual tonight, not tonight because the show is not going to air tonight, but there's going to be a visual at Pasquale's farm. And I believe it's going to be packed with Dominicans, because Dominicans here, they can't go over there. Many people had relatives people from here, from Charlotte, have relatives that were caught up in that tragedy. And they're going to travel over there if they can. And if not, they're going to do their visuals here. We have to come back to being Americans, to be patriots. Right now, we don't have patriotism. And I tell you, if this would have been the time of Obama, Obama probably would even be in the Dominican Republic, because he knows that we have a large constituency of the diaspora from the Dominican Republic. This president, as far as we know, has not reached out. By the time this air, maybe, but I doubt it. I don't think he's that compassionate. I mean, he went to Puerto Rico while people were suffering, didn't offer any assistance other than throw toilet paper towels at the people that were there to see him. That's not compassionate. Actually, it's a dereliction of duties. You went there, the Puerto Rico is an annex of the United States of America, and I tell you how bad it is. Puerto Rico is still recovering from that storm that tore it up when Trump was the president. And I don't want to talk about Democrats and Republicans, but in this instance I have too. I truly believe if Kamala Harris was the president, and she should have been, they would have already sent an envoy to the Dominican Republic, made some type of statement, sent condolences. But with this administration of law and order, it was a joke. That's not going to happen. It hasn't happened, and I personally don't believe it's going to happen, because they're too caught up in the tariffs. I mean, it's so bad that they don't even care about Americans that are suffering right now, and the farmers who used to use those Latino workers to work on the farm and work the farm. That's another reason why it's not just tariffs. We're going to get hit as consumers. We're going to get hit from several angles: the stock market, the tariffs, taxes, and when we go to the grocery store. Now, the grocery store hits more home than the other things that is sort of like an existential part of this. We will suffer. We will suffer. There's going to be some suffrage. Now, I don't know if what the president has stated, it's only going to hurt for a little while. We Americans, we can bear it. Not all Americans are in a position like that. Not all Americans are millionaires and multimillionaires and multi-billionaires that don't have to worry about their Medicaid, that don't have to worry because they don't have Medicare programs that are going to be cut. They don't have to worry about not getting that. When people spend less of tariffs, many things happen. And it's just what I detail. We're going to feel the pain. And I hope that pain, they say that hurts you will only make you stronger. I hope that the pain that we're going to feel from all these atrocities, the attacks on our agencies, the attacks on workers, I hope that it makes you strong enough to learn a lesson. Don't let a con man, a 34-time convicted felon, don't let him con you into voting for him. Don't, the Vice President, J.D. Vance, don't vote for him to become the president. These people are not good for America. They're just not. With Obama, like with Biden, there was like a rainbow coalition in their administration. Take a look at Trump's administration. I believe there's one black there. That's not representative of the United States of America. No, it's not. And if it doesn't bother you, then you need to wake the hell up. Because it should. Oh no, you got Kash Patel. But I don't know if he knows that he's black, because he damn sure look black to me. Maybe Indian, but he's melanated. You know? But I'm not sure that he knows that he's black. In fact, talking about being black, there are a lot of us, and I'm going to speak from a Dominican perspective. My people from the Dominican Republic, the DR, as they're calling it now, people that look like me, you can't tell them that they're black. It's a lack of education. It's a lack of knowing your history. Wherever the conquistadors went, people like Christopher Columbus, they went talking about they discovered America and back to the Dominican Republic. They discovered the Dominican Republic. They changed the name of the Dominican Republic from Quisqueya to La Hispaniola.
Hey everyone, we want to thank you for watching the Tony Forman Show, the new Tony Forman Show. You can catch us on your favorite audio podcast or video podcast platform every Wednesday at 10 in the morning Eastern Time. That's when we drop. So once again, thank you for watching the new Tony Forman Show on your Cannis Media Network. Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying the Tony Forman Show. I also want to remind you that our anchor show, Coffee and Pan Dulce with Jenny and I, drops every Wednesday. Right, Jen?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things. We got some new exciting shows coming to you this year with Cannis Media, and we want to definitely promote this. We got Tony Forman and another host, and exciting new looks at especially the Latinx Hispanic community. They're very relevant to that, just like coffee originally was. And tune in, check them out. It won't hurt, and see what you think. Give us some feedback.
All right, so continue to enjoy the Tony Forman Show, but also jump over and watch Jenny's show on Two Queers in a Truck, and also our show, Coffee and Panduse. Bye, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Bye, y'all. Hey, everyone. We really hope that you're enjoying the Tony Forman Show, which is one of our additional shows for the 2025 upcoming season. It's part of our bigger family of shows that you've listened to over the years in the Cannis Media system. But most of all, hope you can check out Two Queers in a Truck. It's one of our longest running shows, and he is 6 seasons long. And we would love for you to come over, and we talk about real world stuff, a lot of LGBT stuff, obviously it's Two Queers in a Truck, and a lot of other things going on in pop culture. And we try to make most episodes funny. So we'll come over there and see if we actually are doing what we said we were going to do, which is being late-breaking and timely. So again, enjoy 2025, and we appreciate you listening to the Tony Forman Show.
Tucson Overture waged war on the Spaniards and the French. And the Dominican Republic was split into the Dominican Republic and Haiti. You gotta study your history, because they're taking it away from us. And if we don't start educating ourselves, our kids are not going to be educated by the system. Now, I educated myself by listening to people like Dr. Ben Jack Hannon and several other historians studying about not just Malcolm, Farrakhan, quite a few individuals that fought for us. But I educated myself. Though I have not one, not two, not three. I have a BA in theater. I have in early ed. I have a master's in guidance and counseling, that is a master of school psychology in the School of Education, and an advanced certificate of the same school psychology. I use that to get me to where I'm at today. I've had a colorful life, and I'm proud that I'm able to come on my show, thanks to my producer, Christian Cano, and be able to share my thoughts, my experiences with my people, which are the American people, and to try to enlighten a lot of Afro-Latinos about their history. I'm also at the moment working to facilitate the North Carolina Latino Museum of History and Culture. When the web is up, I'll announce it on my show. And I'd like for you guys to go to the page and look it up. It's going to be very interesting. Educating those that don't know, especially those that don't know their own history, if you're from the diaspora, from whatever countries you're from, is very important to me. When a tragedy occurs, like the one that occurred in the Dominican Republic, is just as imperatively necessitated for us to pay close attention to that. Because remember something, we are more alike than different. We're more alike than different. The reason why is North Carolina Latino Museum, because there's some people that speak Spanish. They call themselves, they come from the Caribbean. They're Caribbeans, and but I think that just causes a lot of more divisions. And we're small islands, and Latin America, it's a larger majority of people that speak the language, and that's part of my justification for naming it that. But remember, it's the North Carolina. It's not the New York. It's not the Washington. It's the North Carolina. So this is for people from the diaspora that are here. And I believe that through this museum, all races could come and learn, all cultures, not races, could come and learn about not just the Latino or the Hispanic community, because remember, they're intertwined, about the experience. And I give you an example. Did you know that the United States invaded Puerto Rico? Do you know that Puerto Ricans were taken to Hawaii? In Hawaii, there's a large Puerto Rican community. They were taken there to cut cane. Yes, and that's just Puerto Rico. When you look, and I'm not going to go into a whole history of that. When you look at the Dominican Republic, according to the history books, the first slaves to the Western Hemisphere were taken to the Dominican Republic. They were taken to from there to Jamaica, and they revolted. If you read the Willie Lynch letter, look it up. It's on Google. You'll get a picture of why you have the different cultures fighting against each other. Now, some people say that that's the Willie Lynch letter was not true. It was fabricated. But I tell you like this here, what it says, it is true. Because as an Afro-Latino that grew up with African Americans, I could tell you that everything that letter says is the truth, because we live it every day. Here, the Democratic Party, and I'm talking about the Democratic Party for a reason, because we're talking about 2026 also, the midterm elections. We have a party that sometimes turns a blind eye to Black candidates within the party, which is mostly controlled by people of a different persuasion. Forget my drift. You have Blacks that vote not as a party, but with the people that control the party, oblivious to the fact that the Black candidates are not being recognized or supported by the Democratic Party. There's several elections, and right now there's a fight with this Briggs and I forgot the gentleman who's opposing her votes there in court, and they purged 60,000 votes. You could look it up. 60,000 votes that they said are no good. But if they look at the voting, her name is Justice Rigg, by the way, and she's a female. They pushed 60,000. Think about that. That's a lot of votes coming from a county, not the state. All right? I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that. But to purge 60,000 votes, that's a lot of votes. And most likely those votes went to Justice Riggs and not to Jefferson Griffith, who was the opponent. We have to wake up. And the 60 votes that are being challenged, they're being challenged for a reason. And I believe those 60 votes are going to our female challenger. Now, I said this earlier and I'm going to say it again. If you're so confident that you won or that you're the majority, why, whenever there's an election that comes very close, whether it's a black, a Hispanic, or a woman, why y'all want to play dirty? Why are we having problems with ratifying the Voters' Rights Act? Why are we trying to get rid of the Civil Rights Office in Washington? We have to ask these questions. Not just ask these questions. Go to your representative, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. Write them, call them, ask the question. Because there's a reason why it's happening. There's definitely a reason why it's happening. And I believe that a lot of it has to do with the fact that black people are voting and Latinos are voting more aggressively than they ever did. Then yes, you can attribute it to the woke agenda, as they say. Or some of it, I was just being facetious. But the thing is, we have to be conscientious of the fact that this is happening for a reason. The reason why they're looking to purge these votes. I mean, for Christ's sake, in Florida, there was a law that you couldn't give a person standing in that hot sun water. How do you prevent someone from drinking some water standing in a long ass line because they want to exercise their right to vote? I tell you why. when it's that hot and you have to drink some water, you might get off the line and not vote at all. Like Arsenio Hall used to say, things that make you go, And we gotta go, There's a reason for everything. And we have to be more aggressive. We gotta be like Jasmine Crockett, Auntie Maxine, and many others that came before them. We have to stand up for what is right. And what is right is that we're all Americans and we need to be treated like Americans. Think about the fact that during World War, I believe all the wars, when black men went and fought these wars, the Tuskegee Airmen. They're trying to purge their history. When they came back, they didn't have rights like any other member of the armed forces. No, you went and fought. You died in World War I, World War II, the Vietnam War, and when you came back, I don't use this word loosely, but in this instance, it's apropos because that's how they thought. When you came back, you were a nigger again. And please forgive me for the word because I don't use it. But I had to just to make it an example. You came back being that low down, lazy, and all the accurate, all the names that they call us. You were subhuman. Redlining. They won't say, so not just sell you a home. Studies have been conducted where if you were selling your home, it could be immaculate, but it's a black home, and you have on your wall pictures, paintings of some of our black leaders. And what they would do, they would come in to appraise it, and they would appraise it for less of the value because you were a black family. And then they would sell it for a higher value. These are facts, you can look it up. Where I grew up at in East New York, Brooklyn, I remember we moved there in 1965. My family bought a house, or 1966, something like, I believe it was 1966. The blacks that moved into a neighborhood that was mostly Jewish and Italian couldn't get insurance. Not home insurance. Nope. And it was part of the plan. Those that couldn't afford the insurance or didn't put insurance on their houses, before you knew it, we had what I call desolate, blocks after blocks. They were desolate. If your house burnt down, you forget about it. It's gone. You don't have any insurance. There's nothing that you can do about it. There's so many atrocities that the people today, the young people today, don't know. They have it pretty good, and they don't know. I used to talk to my grandma, my aunt, my mom. Oh, I was always very inquisitive and always wanted to know, because these are all women, very strong women. And I was impressed. My dad and my mom were separated. I had an uncle, Anibal, who he was sort of like a father to me, a big brother. He was actually my cousin, but we call him uncle. And he was pretty much the man, and he wasn't my dad, but these women were strong, and they taught us well. And our kids don't talk with parents like we used to do. It's called an oral tradition, if you don't know. An oral tradition being the key word, that is passed down. During the Great Migration, people from the South had to move up north because there were no jobs for them here in the South. When they moved up there, a lot of them had families. So they got it. And there's a movie about that. I don't know the name. I don't remember the name of it. And They went up from New York to Chicago to Detroit, name it, upstate New York. But every summer, they send their kids back to the South to stay with grandma, the auntie. And the reason why they did that was so they could work more hours or take on an additional job, and they have to worry about the kids during the summer because they were supporting their family down here too. Those kids are now returning. They're moving back south because the north has gotten very expensive. Those individuals that have returned after the Great Migration, I believe that's the name of the movie, made on PBS. The people from the South reject them. They call, oh, y'all, you Northerners, and they talk all this about them. But then the Northerners come here, and they you know, you come from New York, man. You're aggressive. You're outgoing. You get involved in politics. You protest, real protests. When I was in Brooklyn College, I remember participating in many different protests, and in one of them, we took over the. Remember, I said my BA was in theater, so I was heavily involved in my theater works. I was part of the Blacks Theaters Workshop, and we took over the radio station. We took over the TV station. We come back. These people come back here. No, I mean nothing by these people. Just that I'm talking about the African American families. And then here, they come down here because it's so expensive in New York now. They grew up in the South. And then the charlatans tell them that, go back to New York, y'all. I had somebody tell me, you New Yorkers are bringing the snow down here. It's never snowed down here too much. That's called climate change, dummies. People moving down here that has nothing to do with it. You understand? What you don't get is no matter where you go, if you look like me, we all have the same problem. We're black. I don't care where you go. I've done research about black people, Germany, Russia, Turkey, name it, India. And wherever we go, those people from, especially during the pandemic, the Africans from Africa that were in a lot of these countries at one point, remember with AIDS, they blamed it on they said that the Africans got AIDS from monkeys. Something like that. They were throwing the Africans out, beating them up, taking them, corralling them, and putting them in cages, and sending them back. And wherever people of African descent, even in Mexico, the darker your skin, the worse off you are. We are retaliated against. Now, let me ask you something. Knowing what I just described, if we are individuals that think critically. Why don't we get that if the whole world is against us, why aren't we joining arms? Like what the person is doing. There's a lot of people that are migrants that are coming across that border that are now Mexicans. But he called them all Mexicans. That's a tactic to make the rest of the world believe that the Mexicans are the problem. So if they say the blacks and Mexicans are the problem, why aren't the Latinos and the blacks joining arms to fight an administration like this here by going to the ballots, going to the voting machines and voting these people out? We have an opportunity to do that in 2026. We can get our fighting power back by putting people in office in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. We have to become more aggressive. Please listen to me. We've come to the end of our show. I hope that you'll be back for our next show. The show comes on every week at 10 a.m. And thanks to everybody that's been supporting the show since we inaugurated it. And we continue. We will have some guests at the next show. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for being here with me. Tony Forman Show, signing out. Love you.
Hey everybody, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. Thank you for being a part of my world. And we'll see you next week for the show.